All right, this episode 3 of DADS Unscripted. So again, here we are. We're back with some more interesting topic and conversations to help bring this awareness, and again, just to be able to help educate some dads and mothers as well, knowing how to deal with the dads.
You know what? Quick little fast fact. I was looking at the stats of just the podcast only. We've had something like 30, 40 downloads already of just the trailer episode, which is awesome, by the way. But something like around like 25 or 30% are actually women that have listened to it. So that's what I had always thought about with this, is that, you know, this is primarily a message to dads, and it's really about parents. It's just the experience is coming from two dads, and so this is our perspective as a dad. But all of this information pertains to, you know, both men and women.
And like you're saying, you got a lot of women that's sitting back and they're trying to figure out the dads and some of the things
That's
that
true too.
we do. So to hear it from the dads, they say, okay, that's just like it's a marriage club thing that me and my wife had joined. And again, my wife was beating me up a lot of times about a lot of little things that go on. And just so happened, we started seeing the little responses and comments in the marriage club like, I ain't the only one, babe.
Right.
You see this, right? So you know I ain't the only one dealing with. So like I said, it just brought awareness to let you know, look, you ain't by yourself.
Ooh, that's a good. This is why I love doing this podcast with someone else, because there's always a different perspective, you know? Like, I'm thinking, like, this is great information for both people, and you're kind of like, it's great, but also it helps just, you know, the mom hear their perspective. It's like, man, I love this partnership, man. I love it, man.
Likewise, man.
Boom.
Likewise, man.
All right, so what's this topic for today, Dino?
So we was again, like I say, we had holding the conversation with the kids, and you said emotional responsibility. Or again here, just, you know, side notes talking about we are not responsible for other people's reactions and emotions, just our own. And with that, another lesson is learned through, you know, with our kids and dealing with adults. Like I deal with adults every single day with so many different personalities. And that's one of the big things, especially with men. We have men, you know, and fathers, they make a lot of excuses for things. And my thing is, I don't like excuses, because what I came through, what I've done, and I can't accept excuses. So you have to be the one to own up, take accountability, and you have to be the one to be honest with yourself to take on those emotional responsibilities that come along with whatever the situation may be. And so I think that is a very heavy topic as for, you know, a lot of dads, just being held accountable and speaking up.
Yeah, man, I'm so glad this is our topic number 3, because I feel like this is a major topic. Yeah. I feel like so many of the problems in parenting boil down to this topic right here. You know, we talked about it a little bit in the previous one about the whole conversation. We were talking about the reaction and not we were talking about to not react right in the moment there and let things cool down for a moment. Some of that kind of, you know, overlaps with this a little bit. There's a great Instagram account that I follow, and I encourage you to follow. It's called Big Little Feelings. Okay, It's on Instagram. It's called Big Little Feelings. It's so insightful, just about basically the way, you know, little minds kind of tick and what you're saying versus what they're hearing, you know? And so some things that I've seen them talk about a few times is like, you know, they'll do you know, the kid will do something that we don't like. And, you know, and our reaction would be like, why did you do that? You made daddy so mad. And now that child, like, and you keep saying that enough. And that child, I mean, this is a big freaking deal right here. This is why, like, I'm so happy we're talking about this on episode 3, because this is a big deal that shapes your child's psychological future at any age, you know? But when you say things like, you made daddy so mad, or you made mommy so mad, or whoever, you know, whatever it is, you know, you keep saying that over and over. That child, there's several things that are going on there, first of all. One, that child feels like a failure. Feels like basically they cannot live up to an expectation that what they're doing is wrong. The second thing is they feel like you don't love them. Like, that's a big deal. It feels like what you're doing is you're basically preventing that parent from loving that child because that child made you mad. You made you mad. You
made you mad.
And this is, I'm pretty passionate about this, and so I'm gonna try not to get mad at the dads here right now to kind of give hope and everything. So again, just as we always talk about, we're all imperfect, we just make mistakes, but this is, I think, really important, is that we get really, really cognizant of not putting the blame on our child, no matter what they did, even if it was intentional. Now, it's not to say that we're psychopathic and have no feelings, like we're cold-hearted, and it's kind of like, well, it doesn't matter what we do to others. It's their problem, not ours. Like, if we're maliciously out to hurt people, that's a little bit different, right?
That's it.
But when people just doing things just unintentionally, without malice, and our reaction is what we control. We are responsible for how we react.
Exactly.
How we feel.
We're responsible for it. You're exactly
and they're
right.
responsible for how they feel and how they react to situations. That's really what we need to train them. But when we're telling them that they made us feel this way, what we're doing is we're still training them.
Yeah.
But we're training them to say that someone else is responsible for how they feel. Ooh.
That's real. That's
Ooh,
real.
what is that? We're at
One
like
of
4
my
minutes in.
things-
I got a timestamp of that one.
Yeah, and one of my things is parents, just parents in general being hypocrites, towards the kids. And that's something that, I'm very big on, especially, like I say, just being an educator of adults. That thing, it bothers me a lot of times because, some of my, students, they have kids. And so when, a student come into class and they don't have their homework, right? And I say, okay, you need to go ahead and sign out, go home. They get upset, they get mad, But my thing is, just off of conversation or previous conversation that I've heard them talk about, or they may bring to me at some point about, how the kids, getting in trouble, not doing their homework, this and that. So again, now, as parents, we expect our kids to get up, go out to school, have a good day, do all your work, come on home. All right, kick back, chill out. And for adults, we don't get held with the same, accountability in some cases, because we go out and we don't do everything that we are supposed to do. But who's there to chastise us? Who's there to, get on us, to tell us, well, look, you didn't do your homework, so go to your room. You didn't do your homework, so you will not be going out this weekend. So again, being that hypocrite, again, just taking accountability and responsibility with the kid, and some adults knowing this now, is the way that we need to go. And again, punish yourself, discipline yourself as an adult. And that's something that I've learned that I've had to be able to do, discipline myself. I can't sit there and, keep disciplining the kid, and the kid, like I say, keep getting the brunt end of it, and I do something wrong. But again, I have nobody to hold me accountable or to, chastise me about it.
Yeah.
So that's something that I often, think about, and I have to have that conversation with, a lot of the students a lot of the time.
So let's give some practical, I guess, options and advice here. I think the first thing is to just kind of know that that's not okay behavior to do,
Exactly.
And I think that's one of those things where it's tough to be self-aware of that that's a bad behavior, because your natural thing is, well, not everyone, but if you're not an emotionally intelligent person, complete, your natural thing might be to put blame on others. If that's what you normally do, your thing is to just kind of blame other people, not accept responsibility, right? So that's just giving me a natural gut, and maybe no one's put you in check before. So I guess if you're hearing this and you're kind of like, oh, like I do that, right now you're probably feeling, oof,
yeah,
I'm not a good dad. It's just perhaps the way you grew up in your 20, 30 years, that's just your framework, right? It's, whether it's your fault or not, you're imperfect, right? Let's figure out how to be better, move on. I would just say is that, again, just being self-aware of this now, just being aware of this trait is just pause. Like when you get upset, like it's, first of all, it's okay to get upset, by the way. I mean, you could look at things and get, you can get upset at things, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's like if, I'm trying to think of like a realistic example. Like if I'm driving down the road, you know, and someone cuts me off, it's irritating, right? Like I'm going to be upset for a moment. Did that person actually make me upset though? No, that was,
it was yourself.
That was me. I mean, I could have just chosen just kind of like, whatever, maybe he's in a rush or whatever, you know, have empathy, right? So I would say the first thing is to just pause for a moment, right? Even if you're having that inside your head, just pause for a moment and just kind of go, what's going on here? What do I need right now, basically, you know? And it's like, okay, if that child did something that bothered me, it's okay to be bothered by it. Yeah. That's fine. But just accept the responsibility that being bothered by it is on you. It is not on the child. That's it. That's sort of like, we could almost basically end the whole topic right here, is to basically just pause for a moment, put the responsibility on yourself, whether it's your child or anybody for that matter, and just know that whatever anger, sad, whatever you're feeling, it's you. And it's okay to be angry. You know what I mean?
But just own up to the accountability and be accountable for it, because that kind of falls in the line of, again, dealing with anxiety. It falls in that line, and basically what you're saying and talking about also is, like you say, reacting versus responding. You know, and we have to make sure that we do, you know, respond to, you know, a lot of situations versus, like I say, react. That person cuts you off in the highway, it's like you automatically react, laying on the horn or chasing them down. Whatever happens behind that decision you made, you got to deal with the consequences. Like you said, it's on you. You the one got to deal with that. And so we got to be mindful, again, to just, like I say, take that breather, man. Give yourself that little second. Like you said, with anxiety, how anxiety is taken care of, how you fix that anxiety is when that fear start coming on you, you know, your heart start pounding, you start getting, you know, that anxious feeling. You got a small window of opportunity to fix that. If that window closed on you and those thoughts start going out of control to the point where you start acting in anxiety, saying you have an anxiety attack.
Sure.
You got to deal with those consequences, whatever it is that happens behind that. You got to be the one that deal with it. It's nobody else going to have to deal with that. That's you. So if we can start really, like I said, just slowing down a little bit, think about, you know, what just happened, think it through, and then give a response to it, a lot of times we'll come out better. We'll come out on top.
All right, Dino. So 30 seconds, recapping emotional responsibility, and go.
I would say, again, make sure that you are owning up and taking accountability. Being responsible for whatever may be said, whatever may be done, you know, and that's, you know, I can say for both parents. So we can ultimately show our kids. And another thing I thought about real quick, not being afraid to apologize to the kids as well.
Ooh, that's good.
That's a big one. Ooh. Apologizing to the kids in front of the kids and to each other in front of the kids.
That's a good one. That's a fantastic point. My thing would be, you know, I gave kind of like this one little tip about, you know, pausing, and it's really hard to do that in the heat of the moment. I really, if you're listening to this and you heard that and you're kind of like, oh shoot, I put the blame on my kids a lot, right? That's probably a habitual thing, right? That's your personality trait, is to put the blame on other people.
It's a learned behavior.
It's a learned behavior. I would say if you're not seeing a mental health professional now, go see a mental health professional. They'll help you work on other things, but they'll give you tips and other tricks and other tools and resources to sort of help reframe your thinking around that, basically. And if you already are seeing someone, then maybe just incorporate that, because that might be kind of like a hidden thing that hasn't been discovered yet. So that's it. That's episode 3. Appreciate you all listening. So again, if you're listening to this, please follow us on social media at DADS Unscripted. Everywhere you're on social, except Snapchat or LinkedIn. We're not on those two right now. It was sort of just a joke about LinkedIn. That was a bad dad joke. And if you're watching this, please go check out the audio podcast version of this and download it. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and pretty much everywhere else as well. So until next time, thank you, and thank you for being part of the DAD community.